Some people don't just live life, they feel it. Every sound, word, and glance hits deeper. They cry easily, laugh loudly, and love without limits. The world calls them too emotional, but they simply experience life in its rawest form. Where others see ordinary, they see beauty, pain, and meaning hidden between moments. Their hearts are open books written in feeling. Being emotional isn't weakness, it's awareness. Emotional people sense what others ignore. They can read energy in rooms, feel tension before words are spoken. Their empathy lets them connect deeply, but it also drains them. They often carry emotions that aren't even theirs. Yet their sensitivity is a gift. It makes them healers, artists, dreamers who turn pain into creation. Psychologists say highly emotional people have stronger connections between feeling and memory. That's why they replay moments, voices, and emotions long after they pass. Their brain doesn't just remember facts, it remembers how everything felt. This makes them thoughtful and self-aware, but also vulnerable to emotional exhaustion. Their mind is both their storm and their sanctuary. Emotional people often fight two battles, the one the world sees and the one within. They want to be calm, logical, strong, but their heart reacts before their mind does. They feel guilty for feeling too much. They hide tears and call it control. But emotions aren't flaws, they're signals. Their depth doesn't make them unstable, it makes them human in a world that fears vulnerability. When emotional people hurt, they don't always show it. They disappear, retreat into quiet rooms, overthink every word said. They replay what went wrong until it breaks them. They don't explode, they implode. But from that silence, they rebuild themselves. They find strength in reflection, courage in tears. Their healing doesn't come from forgetting, but from feeling until it fades. They can't pretend. If they're sad, it shows. If they're happy, it glows. Emotional people live authentically. They can't fake indifference. Their faces reveal what their words don't. They crave honesty from others because they give it naturally. They value deep conversations over small talk, truth over comfort. They believe emotions are meant to be expressed, not buried. Inside, they often worry, am I too much? They fear their intensity will push people away. They apologize for crying, for caring, for feeling. But they shouldn't. Because emotional people make life vivid. They remind us what passion feels like. They love deeply because they can't love halfway. And even when it hurts, they'd rather feel everything than nothing at all. When they love endlessly. Their affection is pure, consuming, and sincere. They remember little details, your tone, your laughter, your silence. They notice what you don't say. But their love is also fragile. They give all and expect the same. When betrayed, they break quietly, completely. Yet, even shattered, they'd still choose to love again. Because love is their language. Many emotional people are natural empaths. They absorb emotions like sponges. A friend's sadness becomes their own. They carry invisible weights for others, even strangers. Their hearts are open highways for feelings. This empathy makes them kind, but also exhausted. They must learn to protect their energy, because even light can burn when it's always shining. Emotional people are often artists in disguise. They turn what they feel into words, music, art, or care. Their emotions fuel creation. Pain becomes poetry, heartbreak becomes melody, joy becomes color. They translate the human condition into something beautiful. Their creativity isn't just talent, it's emotional survival. It's how they make sense of a world that feels too much. Emotional people don't just think, they feel their thoughts. A simple text, a pause, a look can spiral into hours of reflection. They analyze meaning behind silence, tone behind words. Their mind doesn't rest easily, because their heart keeps asking why. They're not trying to be dramatic, they're just wired to care deeply. Overthinking, for them, is love searching for clarity. For emotional people, empathy is both a gift and a burden. They can feel someone's sadness just by hearing their voice. They want to fix pain that isn't even theirs. They listen until their own heart aches. But what they don't realize is that not every emotion must be carried. Sometimes, caring deeply means learning to let go without losing compassion. Emotional people never truly forget. Not because they hold grudges, but because they remember how everything felt. The warmth of a hug, the sting of a word, the silence after goodbye. It all lingers like echoes in their soul. Their memories aren't stored in the mind, but in the heart. That's why they can smile and ache at the same time. feeling the past as if it never left. Emotional people reflect what they receive. Speak with kindness, and they'll glow. Hurt them once, and they'll remember the tone, the look, the pause. Their hearts are mirrors. They show the truth of how they're treated. This makes them both fragile and powerful. Because their reactions aren't fake, they're honest reflections of every soul that crosses their path. Sometimes their feelings grow louder than words. They cry not because they're weak, but because their soul is too full. Tears become a language when silence can't hold the weight. Emotional people don't hide from feeling, they release it. Their breakdowns are cleansing, not shameful. Each tear is proof that their heart is still alive, still open, still beautifully human. People mistake their tears for weakness, but it takes real courage to feel everything and still keep loving. Emotional people break, but they rebuild with softness. They face pain head-on, not by ignoring it, but by understanding it. Their strength isn't in hiding emotions, it's in surviving them. Because only the brave allow their hearts to remain open in a world that keeps trying to close them. Sometimes emotional people hide behind smiles. They laugh when they're breaking, comfort others while silently hurting. Not because they want to lie, but because they don't want to burden anyone. Their mask isn't fake, it's survival. Behind every "I'm fine" lies a heart that feels too much, loves too deeply, and wishes someone would just notice without them having to say a word. When emotional people connect, it's never surface level. They don't just hear your words, they feel your energy, your pauses, your unspoken pain. Their bonds are soulful, not situational. That's why they struggle with shallow people. They crave depth, honesty, vulnerability. When they say they care, they mean it. When they love, it's not casual, it's complete, consuming, and real. Feeling everything has a cost. Emotional people give until they're empty, listen until they're drained, love until it hurts. They don't notice their own exhaustion until silence feels heavy and even kindness feels tiring. They carry invisible fatigue, not from work, but from caring too much. That's why they sometimes vanish, not to escape others, but to refill their fading light. Emotional people heal slowly, but beautifully. They don't just move on, they process, they reflect, they feel until it doesn't hurt anymore. Their healing isn't a straight line, it's waves of tears, silence, and sudden laughter. Yet through every cycle, they grow softer, wiser, kinder. They learn that emotions aren't enemies, they're teachers guiding them back to self-love and peace. Behind every emotional person is a survivor, someone who's faced heartbreak, rejection, and loss, yet still chooses to feel. They've been told to toughen up, to care less, but they never do. Because numbness isn't strength, empathy is. Their emotions are proof of resilience, not fragility. Feeling deeply in a detached world is their silent act of courage every single day. Emotional people carry a quiet intuition, they just know. They sense lies behind smiles, pain behind laughter. Their emotions are compasses, guiding them toward truth. It's not magic, it's awareness built from years of feeling everything too much. They trust their gut because it speaks the language of empathy. And most times, their heart recognizes danger long before their mind does. Emotional people spend hours replaying moments in their mind. Not because they want to suffer, but because they search for meaning, what went wrong, what they could have done better. They hold mirrors to their hearts and question everything. It's their way of growing. They don't just move forward, they evolve through reflection. Every tear, every thought becomes part of who they're becoming. Emotional people radiate energy that others can feel. When they're joyful, the room brightens. When they're sad, silence spreads. Their emotions ripple outward, touching everyone nearby. That's why peace matters so much to them. They crave harmony, not chaos. Their presence can calm storms or stir hearts, because their energy isn't hidden, it's felt, pure, and beautifully human. Emotional people often feel lonely, even in crowds. It's not because they lack company, it's because they crave connection that touches the soul. Shallow conversations drain them, they long for people who feel as deeply as they do. Their loneliness isn't about being alone, it's about being unseen. They dream of someone who understands silence, not just words. After being hurt too many times, emotional people start building quiet walls. They still feel everything, but they show less. They smile while hiding storms. It's not because they've stopped caring, it's because they're protecting what's left of their heart. Their shield isn't made of coldness, but caution. They've learned that not everyone deserves access to their tenderness. Through every heartbreak and tear, emotional people gain a quiet kind of wisdom. They understand people not through logic, but through feeling. They see the truth behind words, the story behind pain. Their emotions have taught them more than any book could, about love, loss, forgiveness, and strength. They may cry easily, but they also understand life in ways most never will. Every time emotional people are broken, they rise a little different, softer, wiser, but never bitter. Their emotions transform them. What once hurt becomes understanding, what once shattered becomes purpose. They don't let pain define them, they let it refine them. Each experience, no matter how heavy, shapes their empathy, turning wounds into wisdom and scars into light. Emotional people affect everyone around them, often without trying. Their joy uplifts, their sadness humbles. Even their silence speaks volumes. People feel their energy, their sincerity, their depth. They leave marks on hearts, not just memories. Their emotions ripple outward, teaching others to feel, to care, to connect. In a world that hides feelings, they remind us what it means to be alive.